Hello everyone. From today's lesson, we are going to study entire listening section of IELTS. First, we'll discuss what is inside of the section and then common mistakes that students usually make that they could have avoided. So let's go ahead and get started.
So there are a couple things to remember when it comes to IELTS listening. IELTS listening is very difficult. Why? Well, because that you will only hear it each recording only one time. This means that when you're listening for the one time, I guess the first time and the last time, you must listen it very carefully. Number two, the listening passage gets more difficult as you move on through the exam, meaning the first question, maybe first number 1 through 10, could be easy for you, but remember, keep that in mind that as it goes on, it's going to get harder. Number three, there are a variety of question types with which you must be familiar with, which means that not everything in IELTS listening exam will be a multiple choice. It could be multiple choice, fill in the blank, writing a short answers, or even matching. So keep that in mind and practice all different types of listening question is an ideal to become a good, receive a higher band score. Number four, you must stay very focused in order to answer well. I mean, this is kind of obvious, but some students sometimes that they zoom out looking at the questions, but keep that in mind. You have to be very good focused because it kind of comes back to number one because you're going to hear it only once, right? Number five, you must also develop your skills at predicting answers by analyzing questions, meaning that they're not always going to give you the answer. Sometimes you have to listen carefully and grab the answers. Inferring. The skill is called inferring, meaning that you take in whatever they tell you and make a conclusion based on it. So think about that carefully. Number six, there are a range of English accents represented on the exam. You're not always going to hear American English, British English. It could be a range of different accents. So keep that in mind. Number seven, some of the answers are directly quoted from the listening. You must listen to the ideas and not the phrases. So you have to be very careful. Some of the answers will be direct quote. So you felt like, oh, I heard that. Maybe that gotta be the answer. But that's not always the case. Okay? The answer choices could be directly coming from the passage, but it doesn't mean that it's always going to be the answer, right? So another thing is it's going to be 40 minutes total. And very importantly, remember, misspellings will be marked incorrect. Oh, do you notice something in here? I put intentionally incorrect and a wrong spelling. So keep that in mind that I always practicing is spelling before taking IELTS is also critical. Let's go on to the next one. So for section as IELTS, in terms of listening, will be passage one is always conversation between people. When you go to passage two, it's going to be a monologue. Monologue meaning that one person will be talking about some sort of information. Passage three is a conversation between several people about some kind of academic topics. And lastly, passage four is a lecture. Okay. So, how would you improve your score? What are some of the strategies that you have to remember? Number one, I suggest that you write on your booklet first instead of write your answer into the answer sheet that they give it to you. And you can always transfer your answer at the end. You're given 10 minutes to do this. So please try to write your answer first in booklet, check your spelling, and carefully transfer your answers at the end. And it's okay not to understand everything, right? But instead, focus on keywords from the questions and focus on what you need to be listening out for. So do not try to use all your brain cells to understand exactly what's going on, but instead focus on what they're trying to tell you, like the keywords from the questions, and try to look for the answers, right? Okay, this one sounds really silly, but many of my students have done this kind of mistake. Please follow the directions. Do they ask you to fill out the blank with the one word, 2 words, or 3 words? Think about it, right? And only write the one word. If they're looking for one word, please don't write 2 words, right? Lastly, not the least, is no negative marking. This means that you can get it wrong and not going to receive negative score. Do you know what's good about this? is that you always try to guess the answer, because even if you get it wrong, there's no penalty for it. But if you get it right, that's good for you. That's really awesome, right? So think about that, all right? Okay, here's the last word that I really want to tell you. Be aggressive when you scan the answers and highlight the keywords, and be an active listener, meaning that your pencil is moving when you listen. Be ambitious, attack on questions. Don't just sit there. Please read the question fast, aggressively, attack the, questions, and then you'll be able to succeed.
I hope this video was meaningful, understandable, and you were able to engage. Make sure to practice listening section on our course page. Try to click on listening practice test 1 and take it and see what you get as a result. If you have any question, please let us know and we'll be happy to help you. I'll see you next time for the next video. Thank you.